I've got a fair bit of love for Matthew Vaughn over the years, from his early outing with Layer Cake through his X-Men films to the Kingsman series of films. I've had a lot of fun with his style and the flourish that he brings to all of his output. With Argyle, he looked set to be tapping into the spirit and energy of his Kingsman series, delivering a spy caper with its tongue firmly in its cheek. Reclusive author Ellie Conway, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, finds herself suddenly drawn into the real world of spies by an agent named Aidan, played by Sam Rockwell. And it appears that this new spy novel that she's currently working on seems to be predicting real world espionage events. And now a dark agency named The Division want to capture her to help them find the location of the MacGuffin. Sorry, the Master Key. Cue almost 2 hours and 20 minutes of stylized action, plot twists, and witty dialogue in that Vaughn manner. When I say plot twists, I mean a plethora of plot twists that drop continuously through the film to such a degree that by the midpoint, I'd kind of given up caring what was actually going on, as I was pretty sure some other twist or reveal would come along and pretty much undo any of the earlier peril, which is a shame, as the cast tied up in it are an absolute delight. Rockwell, as ever, is a scene-stealing perfection, with great comic timing and the charm that carries a lot of the film. Howard is fabulous for the most of the film, stumbling on a couple of moments, but generally playing an excellent central performance. The wide array of faces that join them all lend something. Bryan Cranston and Catherine O'Hara stand out. Henry Cavill, as the fictional Argyle of the books, pops up intermittently and strikes a cool presence, but never really makes a dent. And the rest of the array of cast all have brief but generally entertaining scenes that should raise a smile or two. However, the film is a perfect example of everything wrong with movies made by streaming services. As an Apple production, this was initially planned for direct release to the streaming service, and much like other streaming movies on Netflix or Amazon, it appears that the creator, in this case Vaughn, is given a lot more freedom than they would usually be offered. Now, when someone like Scorsese gets full freedom, he delivers well, having honed his own craft for editing perfectly over the years and being very self-critical on what works and what doesn't. But when someone like Vaughn gets creative freedom, a guy who's known for his exuberance and outlandish comedy, the result is a pretty self-indulgent and almost smug film that doesn't quite know when to stop. Don't get me wrong, the visual flair on offer here does lift the whole thing, and the charming chemistry between Howard and Rockwell keeps things together just about. And one standout action moment in the last act is simply beautiful to watch, and that's a fine example of Vaughn at his creative best. But there's at least half an hour too much film here, and far too many twists and turns that make the whole thing feel somewhat exhausting. It's like being stuck on a great roller coaster. There comes a point when it no longer feels fun and you just want to get off. Argyle entertained me, don't get me wrong, but it also beat me into submission at the same time. Directed by Eva Longoria in her directorial debut, Flaming Hot is a biographical drama about the son of a Mexican immigrant, Richard Montanez, who was inspired by the flavors of his community and came up with the idea for Flaming Hot Cheetos. Raised in Southern California, Montanez always tried to live an honest life, but found that being taken serious wasn't easy as the son of an immigrant, resulting in finding support of local gangs to get by. Taking on work as a janitor at Frito-Lay after lying on his CV, he catches the attention of the engineering maintenance leader, Clarence, played by Dennis Haysbert, who teaches him how to operate the machinery and how the cooking process works. When the factory faces redundancies due to the politics of the Reagan administration, Richard is inspired to think like a CEO after seeing the training video from Frito-Lay's CEO, Roger Enrico, and he comes up with a flavor at home that he thinks will save the company: Flaming Hot. Now, this was a story that I knew nothing about, and according to various reports, I still don't actually know the proper story, because the film, and indeed Montanez himself, has embellished the tale for entertainment factor. However, as an inspirational biopic, it certainly serves its purpose in conveying the general nature of Montanez's success. Not only that, but it's a surprisingly enjoyable film that benefits from the well-placed cast, especially Jesse Garcia as Richard and Annie Gonzalez as his wife Judy. The lightness of direction from Eva Longoria serving the film just as well, keeping the whole thing light and accessible, and avoiding slumping into a depressing mire whenever social politics and issues of the time arise. The message of the film is clear without feeling depressive or hammered home, and instead you're left with an inspirational tale about anyone from any beginnings who has an idea can stand up and be noticed and taken seriously. This is well worth a watch. It's on Disney Plus right now.